Listen to The Machine Stops by Edward Morgan Forster. Level B1, Oxford Reading, University.
1. The Airship. Imagine an 8-cornered room filled with soft light and pleasant music. A chair and a reading desk stood in the center of the room. A woman was sitting in the chair. She was pale and thin and wrapped in some white cloth. A bell rang. The woman turned the switch and heard a familiar voice. "All right, Kuno," she said into the bell. "I'll talk to you, but you ought to hurry. I have a lecture to deliver in 5 minutes." She touched one of the many switches, and the room sank into total darkness. After a while, the round plate in her hands shone with pale blue light. Then it turned into the image of her son. "Mother, there's something I need to tell you," he said. "Can you come and see me?" "But I can see you now," said Vashti. "Only through the machine," her son replied. "I want to talk to you in person. Do come and see me. The airship will bring you here in less than 2 days." "I hate airships," said Vashti with a miserable expression on her face. "I dislike seeing the surface of the earth. It gives me no ideas." "In contrast, I only get ideas in airships," replied Kuno. "I want to go to the surface and see the stars, as people did many generations ago." Vashti could feel that he was sad, even though the machine never projected any emotions. "This is silly," she said. "You know that the surface is nothing but mud and dust. You need a respirator if you don't want the outer air to kill you. You shouldn't do it, my dear." "Because it's against the will of the machine?" he asked sharply. Then he was gone. Vashti felt lonely for a moment. However, another turn of the switch returned the light, and she was again at peace. As usual, she gave her 10-minute lecture on Australian music. All the while, she was sitting in her chair. After that, she pressed all the necessary buttons to feed, take a bath, and go to bed. She took the book of the machine from her reading desk. The book contained instructions concerning every inconvenience one could possibly have in the underground city. Vashti raised it to her lips to kiss it softly 3 times. Then she said, "Oh, machine." She scanned the schedule of airship departures. Then she made the room dark and sank into a deep sleep. The following day, she made the room light, fed, exchanged ideas with some people, delivered lectures, and slept. Everywhere around her, there was a quiet humming sound made by the machine, but she didn't notice it. She had been born with that sound in her ears. The next day, she pressed a button that she had never used before. The door of the room opened. Vashti looked fearfully into the long, well-lit tunnel in front of her. Then she pressed another button and retired back into the safety of her room. "Kuno, I don't feel too well," she said. "I can't come and see you." Her son contacted her doctor at once, and an immediate reaction followed. The automatic medical machinery came down from the ceiling. It measured her temperature and heartbeat, and then Vashti was given some medicine. She was thinking of her son all the time. She remembered his childhood and the public nursery. She remembered the visits they used to pay each other before the machine assigned him his own room. The more she thought about Kuno, the more she wanted to see him. Again, she pressed the button, and the frightening tunnel appeared. She held the book tight in her hands and stepped onto a platform. Immediately, she was transported right to the elevator. There, for the first time in months, she met another person. Very few still traveled, because there was no point in it. The advanced science made the cities all over the earth look absolutely the same. The elevator delivered the 2 passengers to the airship, and the fear of the outer world returned to Vashti. They had to walk to the ship a little instead of being delivered right to their seats. She felt most uncomfortable on that ship. The arrangements were old-fashioned and rough, and there was a human female attendant. So Vashti was supposed to announce all her requests to the attendant. Pushing a button would have been much more convenient. The glass door closed, and the ship flew high above the waters of a tropical ocean. The ship traveled in the night. Through the window, Vashti could see the stars. She turned away in disgust. She fell asleep. Then an unfamiliar light woke her up. It was the light of the rising sun. Vashti was annoyed by the sunlight and tried to close the curtain on her window, but instead, it broke and flew up. The golden light of the sun poured into the ship, and Vashti cried in horror. The attendant was unable to fix the curtain and simply moved Vashti to another cabin. "Where are we?" she asked silently. "We are currently over Asia," replied the attendant. "Oh, I apologize. I have this uncivilized habit of calling places their old, unmechanical names." She pointed at the Himalayas and went on. "Those mountains were once called the roof of the world. This reminded the people that only gods could live above them. We have made such great progress thanks to the machine." "Close the window, please," asked Vashti. "Those mountains give me no ideas." 2. The mending apparatus. As a well-mannered woman, Vashti neither looked at her son nor shook his hand when she was finally in his room. "I've suffered through a horrible journey to be here, Kuno," she said. "It's not worth it. I have a few minutes. Say whatever you want and I'm leaving at once." "I may be punished with homelessness," he said simply, and she finally looked at him in horror. Homelessness was death. A person was left in the open air on the surface till it killed him. "I went outside once since we last spoke," Kuno went on. "I didn't order the pass ticket. I just found my own way." "There is no other way out apart from the main exit," said Vashti confidently. "That's what the book says," replied Kuno. "But it's a lie. I went there on my 2 feet. At first, I just walked up and down the platform outside my door. Eventually, my legs and body grew stronger. Then I took the elevator to another platform and walked there too. I did so repeatedly till I reached the farthest platform that lies right below the surface. I walked in the tunnel and came across a mine. People used to work there when they first started building our city many generations ago. After work, they returned to the starlight and the open air. I felt as if the spirits of those people encouraged me to move forward. "Don't tell me about those uncivilized horrors," cried Vashti. But Kuno couldn't contain his excitement. So he went on. "I returned to my room that day, determined to climb up the mine and reach the surface. I started training my arms, and soon was able to hang by my hands. Then I took a respirator and went back to the mine. Soon, I discovered an iron ladder, and started climbing up till I reached the stopper. As you are well aware, stoppers prevent the outer air from getting into the city. Well, I was feeling very brave, so I jumped. I caught hold of the handle and hung upon it, and the stopper moved." Vashti looked at him with disgust. She was embarrassed. Why did the son of a respected, sensible woman try to fight against the order of the machine? "Next thing I knew, I was on the surface, lying on my back," Kuno continued. "Blood was running out of my nose and ears. I saw that the stopper had been blown out. The underground air burst up like a fountain. I had lost my respirator, so it was really painful to breathe. Fortunately, I was in a ravine, and soon it filled with the underground air. By the evening, I was able to climb the side of the ravine. I was amazed by the sight in front of me. I saw a row of colorless hills, but to me, they were beautiful. It seemed that they lived, calling out to the ghosts of the past." Kuno fell silent for a while, and Vashti asked him to go on. "Why can't all you scientific people see that we are dying here under the ground?" her son exclaimed. "The machine is the only thing that lives. It was created by humans, but has long since taken control of our lives and bodies. Now it forces us to follow its will." His mother remained silent, and he continued. "At sunset, I noticed that the fountain of air had quieted down. The reason for that was the mending apparatus. It had fixed the hole and discovered me. Suddenly, I saw something coming out of the hole and toward me. It was a terrible, long, white worm. It tied my legs together and pulled me back into the hole while I cried in horror. Before the stopper closed above me, I saw the light of the stars. Then I lost my senses. When I woke up, I found myself in my underground room." Once he was finished, Vashti prepared to leave. She had little to say. "You will be punished with homelessness," she said. "There's no life left on the surface." "You're wrong," protested Kuno. "There are still people living there. I saw a woman with my own eyes. She came to help me when I shouted, but the worms caught her too and killed her." "You mustn't disrespect the machine," said Vashti in a serious voice. "I prefer to respect God," replied Kuno angrily. Vashti walked out the door, convinced that her son had gone mad. 3. The homeless. Years had passed since Kuno's journey to the surface. Two very important things occurred during that time. Firstly, all the advanced thinkers, Vashti among them, determined to cancel the respirators. It had become unnecessary for people to risk their lives and go to the surface, and there was nothing to see anyway. Secondly, religion became part of people's lives again. People prayed to the machine as if it was a powerful god, and yet no one admitted that the machine had gotten out of hand. The more effort people invested in maintaining it, the less they understood how it really worked. Vashti went back to her routine. She led a perfectly peaceful life till the very day of the disaster. One day, she learned that her son had been transported from the northern edge of the earth to the southern one. Now, he lived fairly close to her. Soon he sent her a message through the blue plate, even though they hadn't contacted each other for years. "The machine stops," he said. "There is no doubt. I know the symptoms." Vashti only laughed into the plate to annoy her son, and he spoke no more. She called her friend soon after. "Can you believe it?" she cried. "The madman that used to be my son claims that the machine is stopping." Then, something happened to the music. Some strange sounds followed the melody, as if a person was breathing heavily. It annoyed Vashti at first. She sent many complaints to the committee of the mending apparatus, but as time passed, she stopped noticing the sounds, now considering them part of the music. But then the sleeping apparatus failed, and people went mad. They pressed the buttons, and no beds appeared. To quiet the panic, the committee of the mending apparatus made an official announcement. According to it, the mending apparatus itself required repair. People were impressed by such honesty. They felt guilty about putting too much pressure on the machine. Now they were determined to live without beds or other comforts, till the machine returned naturally to its duties. Then the light failed, and people became unable to read. Nobody knew whether all the promised measures had been taken by the committees, but people had long since stopped complaining. They mostly said their quiet prayers to the book, hoping that the machine would get back in order, and all its possible enemies would be punished with homelessness. One day, without any warning, the communication system broke down all over the world. Vashti was lecturing when she noticed that the audience had stopped making sounds. "The machine stops," she remembered, and then came the horror of silence. Vashti was born into the continuous humming sound of the machine. It was as essential to her ears as the air was to her lungs. When it stopped, a sharp pain shot across her head and nearly killed her, as it killed thousands of other people at once. She hurried to press the button that released the door. The tunnel was flooded with people. They were crying and pushing each other, trying to make their way to the elevator that was no longer able to take them anywhere. Some just stood there, saying their prayers to the machine. Others asked for respirators or death. Every last one of them was frightened of the silence, the voice of the earth, and the past generations. Vashti cried, and somebody cried in response. They cried over the end of the human race. "Kuno, where are you? Is there any hope?" shouted Vashti. "I'm here," he replied from the dark. "For us, there is no hope. We are dying, but at least we talk without the machine. We now know what the outer people know about life." He kissed her. "Is this the truth, Kuno?" asked Vashti. "Are there really people on the surface? Is this not the end?" "I've talked to them and loved them," he replied. "They're out there hiding and waiting for us to end. Today they are homeless, but tomorrow, someone will restart the machine," said Vashti. "No," replied Kuno. "They've learned their lesson." Then an airship fell from the sky, down to the bottom of the underground city, and the world exploded. Vashti and Kuno saw the many nations of the dead, and as they joined them, a piece of the clear, cloudless sky.
Hit the like button and leave a comment if you enjoyed the story. This way, we will know that you need more audiobooks like this. And now check out this crazy story in English.